Hello, this is Josh. So the last 2 years of my life have been full of downs and ups. Got separated, had a place to live, but then had to stay with my parents until the place was ready, and then Mom had a stroke, and I stayed with them because Dad wasn't. I don't know that he was mentally capable of taking care of Mom post stroke, so I stuck around, and me and my sister helped him out as much as possible. Then a year later, I found myself unemployed. Had gone through about a month and a half's worth of pneumonia. Then Mom passed away in August, and then it was just me and Dad, and Dad was getting more feeble, and his mind was getting a little worse. And then in December, I divorced. I still hold Becky, and I feel wrong saying my ex-wife, so I talk about Becky. She's one of the best friends I've ever had, probably the best friend I've ever had, and still is, and I still appreciate that friendship. But the divorce was final, and I had gotten a job, and I was driving an hour and some change down there, an hour and change back. There were a lot of politics that went on in that job, and I wound up losing that job back in March. And then Dad got worse, and in a week's time, in April, he went from being able to walk to not being able to walk at all. I've felt anger because the hospital rejected him, and it wasn't because he didn't have insurance, because he had insurance. He was just 80 years old, and they didn't feel like treating an 80-year-old, in my opinion. That's what it sounded like to me. Anyway, Dad's been dead 2 weeks now, a little over 2 weeks, and I've gotten to a point in my life where I don't want to live, but I don't want to die. I want to see my granddaughters grow up. And if you're watching this, Braylon, my sweet tater, no matter what, Doc always loves you. Okay? Always remember that. And I know Rowan is not really old enough to understand yet. I think she's, 10 months old now? But I love her too. I don't want to be alone, but I hate being around people. I want to sell the house and move, but I don't want to sell the house and move. It's been really rough this past 2 weeks. I was telling someone else that it feels like every emotion I've ever experienced in my life is hitting me all at once. The thing that's keeping me awake most nights now is questioning why no one questioned Dad's health, because we found out after he died that he was eat up with multiple myeloma, which research that I've done tells me that it was bone cancer, cancer of the bone marrow. And the thing is I look back at his medical history and I know all the signs pointed to something being wrong, but no one questioned it. He had to have his spleen removed because it was enlarged back in 2000, I want to say 5 or 6. I know in a year's time he had 5 or 6 different surgeries. Every blood panel he had done after that, and he had about 2 a year, showed that he had low iron, and they give him iron supplements and send him on his way. Nobody questioned that. Nobody questioned why his iron was constantly low. Nobody questioned why his spleen was enlarged. Nobody questioned why in the last days his left leg from the knee down was twice the size of his right leg. It was full of fluid. It makes me wonder if the Hippocratic Oath is taken these days before doctors get their degrees. Anyway, I don't want to get off on the tangent, but I'm going to do this little video, log, diary, whatever you want to call it. Right now I'm on the road. I'm taking a trip out to the beach. A friend of mine got in touch with me and said, you know, I've got a place to stay free of charge for a while. If you want to just come out and get away from everybody, maybe that'll help. So I've packed up my guitar. I've packed up Dad's little banjolin that I'm going to try to convert to be able to play left-handed. And I'm just going to try to I don't want to say recharge, but refocus. Because I can't think about anything. I can't remember anything because I'm constantly thinking about why nobody ever questioned Dad's health. And I'm angry that it took me that long to figure out what was going on. Of course, I'm not a doctor. I majored in anthropology, so I wouldn't have to major in biology pre-med. So who knows? Maybe I should have. But anyway, what I hope to gain out of this time at the beach is just to maybe come up with some new music, but really rest, try to refocus, get away from everything that reminds me of Mom and Dad for a little while. And another thing that I find myself doing is, apparently I love guilt, because I I know how rough I'm having it, dealing with everything I've dealt with in the last 2 years. But I get mad at myself because I know there are people out there who are in worse situations, have suffered worse problems and traumas in their life, and I start to feel guilty because I know mine are minuscule compared to other people's problems. But anyway, we're gonna see if this works. It's kind of a little experiment on my part. So I'm gonna end this video by saying peace and love to everybody that's watching, and I hope to see you. Hopefully the next video will be of me with a beer in my hand and my toes in some sand. But peace.